Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. Let me start off by saying it's an honour and a pleasure to be here to talking about my story over the last 6-7 years, and you're probably sitting there thinking, what is going on? And so the reason I've started this channel is because my journey started 6-7 years ago and I was diagnosed with a chronic illness, and I do want to touch on how I've managed to get myself out of a wheelchair and start travelling and start looking at other aspects of my life. The other reason I have done this channel is because a lot of people have said to me, AD, you need to do a YouTube channel. I have been posting on my Facebook page for years and years and years, and I think now it's time I do a YouTube channel. As you've probably noticed, my first videos was all about me in Venice a month ago, and you're probably thinking, well, what's going on? This guy's just come on YouTube and he's just posting a load of shorts of him in Venice. Whoopie-doo, wow. Well, once I tell you my story of how I got out of a wheelchair and put a very, very chronic illness into remission and done the things that I've done, again, it'll be your choice. So before I continue, please understand I'm not a doctor, I'm not a health practitioner, I have no qualifications whatsoever. These videos are for information only. If you do seek to change your life medically, pharmaceutical or anything else, please seek medical advice. Now guys, I don't edit videos, I don't do anything like this. This is just me speaking straight from the heart. So what I want to do, guys, is I want to touch on what happened 6-7 years ago, right from the beginning. I am so excited to post videos of where I started from and where I am now. The Venice videos is where I am now, and I'm going to start posting where I started from, my first trip out there on my own. And this is going to be an absolute journey. It's going to be, let's get on it, shall we? Oh, I'm so excited. Right, so 6-7 years ago, I had a pain in my shoulder and I went to the hospital, and they did some blood tests, and I remember sitting down in front of the doctor, and the doctor said to me, how are you feeling generally? I said, not very well. He said to me, well, your blood tests have come back and you've got a really, really high rheumatoid factor. Your CRP is through the roof. Your ESR is through the roof. At that moment in time, I didn't know what all that means. I didn't care. All I wanted was the magic pill, as you've probably heard about. And the things I'm going to speak about, when I started speaking about these things years ago, people thought, you're a nutcase, you're a nutter. But over the last 3, 4, 5 years, it's all getting out there. It's all getting out there about manipulation by the food companies, the pharmaceuticals and everything else. And what a journey it's been. So the doctor put me on something called naproxen. I went on naproxen, so on and so forth. Then the hospital asked me if I would like to do a trial of putting injections in myself every week, in my legs, each week. Something called the Apripra trial or something like that. Also at this moment in time, I was in a relationship. This will pan out as well. I particularly don't want to spend much energy about the relationship, because what I want to talk about is energy. Einstein had it right when he said mass is the same as energy, energy is mass. You can convert them both into each other. So you can convert energy into mass, mass into energy. This is something I want to talk about in the future, about how you can have so much energy. By the way, guys, I'm aged 54. I am coming up to 55 this year. Last year I climbed 3 mountains after being in a wheelchair. I know I keep flipping from other subjects to other subjects, but I just want to I'm so excited to get all this out there to you guys. So, they put me on the pre-trial. At that moment in time, I was on the pre-trial. I was taking something called naproxen. I was also doing these injections in my legs. It was a double-blind placebo thing. I wasn't very well at all. I'll be honest with you guys, right? I had some internal and some external factors that I needed to talk about. I was smoking, I was vaping, my lifestyle was horrendous, I was gambling, and I was also in a relationship with a not very nice person. Again, I don't want to talk about that. We'll touch on that in the future. So, I started taking these meds. This naproxen wasn't getting any better. I had to give up all physical work and everything else. They kept giving me steroid injections. I had, I think, about 8 steroid injections. I was getting something called bursitis in here. I was getting something in my feet called fibromyalgia or something like that. I was getting things called trigger finger, where I was getting all these cysts growing on my tendons and everything else. And yeah, and they just kept whacking me with steroid injections. They also gave me Lexocam. They also gave me diclofenac, and I was pumping myself with all these injections. So while this was going on, I was housebound and I was not in a very good place. Then I found out I was being cheated on by my partner of 23 years, and that was another blow to me. And I was living in a council house at that moment in time. And basically I felt like the world had opened up and swallowed me up, guys. My son was living with us at the time, and I was really down there, guys. I was absolutely broken to bits. So basically, after trying to get myself together, I moved out. My son chose to come with me, and we rented a house together, and basically that was it. Now, when I was in that house, COVID hit in as well. I was getting in a worse state. I was a broken guy, and I was broken in 3 ways. And this is how I had to repair them. Physically, emotionally, and spiritually were the 3 things that I was broken with, guys. And for me to put this into remission, I had to repair those 3 points, you know. I didn't come to learning about these 3 things until I did a lot of research. Now, I understand that COVID was a very stressful and horrible time for people, but actually for me, it was a time where I was able to reflect and look within and look at my life in the past. Now, when I started sitting down and reflecting, I thought to myself, how can I repair myself? Now, obviously, I went straight away for the physical and the food thing. I was ruined spiritually and emotionally, and I will touch on those in the future of how I repaired those 2s and what I did. Now, guys, these videos, they are just for information, and it's about what I've done. Guys, the great thing about life is you're free to do as you please. There was a time in my life, if someone gave me advice and turned around and said, you need to do this, you need to do that, well, my instant reaction is, who the hell are you? So on and so forth. And this is what I always stress to people. Guys, do as you please, right? I've managed to give up vaping, smoking, drugs, gambling, toxic people, all sorts of things in my life, and be doing what I'm doing now. I've been on a journey of building up self-esteem and confidence, because when you've been hit with a massive chronic illness and you've found out you've had the worst betrayal thrown upon you, it knocks you down. And you have to accept that. And this is the reasons why I'm going for these 3, like the triangle, to heal the body. So first thing I looked upon was food. And every time I looked in these 3 triangles, I opened up a massive rabbit hole with all of it. So when I started looking, I started going on the place where a lot of people do, Google, and then I found YouTube. And I found all these doctors on YouTube talking about putting chronic illnesses in remission. You know, I've watched so much YouTube over the years, guys, that I've gained so much knowledge about what I did. And the way I did YouTube was I didn't just pick a doctor and listen to them. And obviously I did trial and error. I listened to different doctors. I mean, I listened to Dr. Eric Berg, I listened to Dr. Pradip, I listened to Dr. Stein Egberg, I listened to Huberman, I listened to Joe Rogan, I listened to, there were so many, right? So many, Dr. Jockers, and they've all got their opinions. But guys, the common denominator that they all talked about was processed food and fasting. And when I talked about fasting years ago to people, they're like, no, it don't work. But I always took a reference of what they said to how we lived years and years ago. So the first thing I did is I took on something called the elemental diet. And this was absolutely horrible, guys. It was my first step, my first journey, and that's where I want to start from. Because in these videos, I'm going to tell you what worked and what didn't work. So I bought a book called The Elemental Diets, and it was about taking not eating, but you take something called amino acids and you have fat for your energy, you know. So basically it wasn't a proper fast. Now, at that time, I was still taking heavy doses of naproxen. I can't remember, but it was the max dose. I was also off the apripretol, which I'd done for a year. I was in bits. I remember catching the train at the hospitals to get from one end to the other. Wow, this journey. I remember also taking ibuprofen, having steroid injections, so on and so forth. Really, really bad place. And so I decided, you know what, I've had enough. And I also researched from these doctors that if you want to get better and you come off the meds, you're going to have pain, sleepless nights and everything else, because this is the story I want to talk about the meds in the future, how you can get hooked on them and everything else. And that's something I want to talk about in the future, attachment. So I started this elemental diet, and the fats was something called saf oil, which was a highly processed oil. And I come off the meds. I went through hell, guys. I went through hell. And at that moment in time, I was waiting for a replacement shoulder, guys. A replacement shoulder. Wow. And I'd also been given loads of steroids. I was having regular x-rays. I was having ultrasound scans because I was on this apripretol and everything else. I did this elemental diet for 6 weeks, guys. And I was really rough on it. Really, really, really rough, guys. So I remember after 6 weeks doing this elemental diet, I was going for a routine ultrasound scan, because obviously this trial I was on at the hospital, they wanted to know that if what they were giving me was working. I still don't know to this day whether I was on the drug or on a placebo. I don't really care, because I found the answer of putting it into the remission anyway, the most healthy way. So I sat down for an ultrasound scan, and the nurse scanned my joints, all here, big joints, little joints. If you suffer from rheumatoid arthritis and everything else, you will know that it always affects the extremities, fingers, hands, toes, feet and everything else. And wow, tendons, the lot, amazing, unbelievable. It's Horrible journey. You need to understand that as I'm backtracking through this, I am getting emotional over this because it has been an amazing journey to do this. So I remember sitting there in the hospital, laying on the thing while she's ultrasounding my knuckles, and she's ultrasounding them. And I remember the nurse saying to me, "What's going on?" I said, "What do you mean, what's going on?" She goes, "What meds are you on? I need to know." I said, "Why?" She says, "I've never seen this. I've been in the hospital doing this for 30 years. She goes, "On this screen, I have your ultrasound scans from 18 months ago, and I have your ultrasound scans from now." And I said, "Okay." She says, "How do you feel?" Guys, at the time, I didn't feel great because I was doing this elemental diet. I was spiritually broken and I was emotionally broken. So I didn't feel great. I really didn't. And I said to her, "I don't feel that good, to be honest. I don't want to sit there telling the nurse what I've just been through over the last 6-7 months, being homeless, finding out I've been betrayed, finding out I've got a chronic illness, being in a wheelchair, everything else." It was, no, I didn't. I felt shit. I felt terrible, guys. So she said, "Well, I can't believe what's going on." She goes, "Let me explain what I'm seeing." She said to me, "This is your ultrasound from 18 months ago." And she goes, "Round your joints is loads of fluid and blood." I goes, "Okay." She goes, "This is your ultrasound now." She goes, "What I'm seeing is healthy joints. Your knuckles are as good as they should be for someone of your age, even better." I said, "Right, okay." She goes, "Please tell me what's going on. What have you done?" So I said to her, "Well, I took on something called the elemental diet." And she said, "Well, I've never seen this." She said, "For someone who's not on meds either, for this to happen, this is, honestly, you don't understand how truly amazing this is." So I'm kind of blown away because, guys, I didn't feel that great. I felt terrible. I really did. So she said, "Look, you need to write a book. You need to tell people about this." So I said to her, "But I don't really feel that great." I said, She goes, "But I can see the difference. I've never seen this. Even with people on, what they talked about me going on, but I kept saying no, Megatrexate, because they wanted to put me on that after this trial, and I researched that about having blood tests every month, and that scared the pants off me of how that med can destroy your internal organs, your liver, your kidneys, and everything else." She goes, "This is truly amazing. You need to write a book." Well, at that moment in time, guys, I didn't even read books. I'm the kind of guy that never really went to school, to be honest. I was at a school, but I used to wag it, as they used to call it. I used to go in, sign in, so didn't really interest me. My past life was very complicated, and this is how I want to talk about in the future, how your past life, if you don't deal with that, can cause you problems in the future for chronic illnesses, chronic inflammation, and everything else, guys. So she said, "You need to write a book." Well, that's not going to happen, is it? But I thought, okay. So I went home, struggled to get home, actually, to be honest, because I was struggling to get around. It was tough, very tough. So I went home and I sat there and I thought, okay, she inspired me to start kind of looking deeper into what was going on. And this was when I started looking into YouTube even more at these doctors about fasting, something called autophagy, the body self-eating and everything else, so on and so forth. So, really strange. So I really, really looked into that. And I didn't actually start posting videos on Facebook about what was going on with me until I took this to the next level, guys. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to tell you in the next video, guys, of what I did next to take this to the next level. Because the elemental diet, okay, was the first step on the ladder, but it's not the proper route to go. Because one of the biggest problems with the elemental diet was I wasn't really triggering true autophagy, and also I was having a fat called saf oil or something like that, which is highly processed seed oil, full of omega-6, full of hexane and all sorts of other stuff. I did not have this knowledge, and these are the things I'm going to talk about in the next video. Also, guys, in between my videos of what I've done, I will be posting where it all started, because I've had to face a lot of my fears to get to this level. I've also had to be honest with myself, guys, and focus on myself to be where I am now. And these are the things that I want to talk about. I cannot wait to show you this journey. And as always, guys, you know, life's about choice. I chose to do this, and the reason because I chose to do this was because I wanted to do this. I didn't have anyone telling me you should do this. I chose to do this because I got to the end of my tether where I got to a place where, okay, I've had enough. If it kills me, it kills me. Because one of the biggest, hardest things to do was to give up something that I was attached to, which was the meds. These meds I was addicted to. But saying that, I've been addicted to a lot of things in my life, and this is the journey I want to talk about of how to get off of all of these things, how I've got off of them. And like I say, it's your choice. You can choose to watch these videos, you can choose not to. You can choose to comment, you can choose not to. You can choose whatever you want to do. But a lot of people talk about prevention is the best. I agree, guys, but my lifestyle was crap, and what I want to talk about is, okay, we all ignore about prevention. I did, you know, but what I want to talk about is how amazing the body is, and when you haven't prevented, and don't get me wrong, it's a tough journey, guys. It's very tough. How even when you haven't lived a healthy lifestyle and you've done all this, you can still come back. Because the key is, guys, the body wants to survive. Everything wants to survive, but you've got to give the body the right environment, the right mindset, the right spiritualness. Now, when I talk about being spiritual, guys, it's not about God, yeah? It's not my thing, yeah? I'm on about being at one with the body and being spiritual and self-reflection and coming out and looking at oneself, which is a tough thing to do, yeah? If you can do that, you can improve, you can change. Right, guys, I'm going to love and leave you now. And I can't wait to see you all again in the next video. And I hope you've enjoyed this introduction. We've got a great journey, all of us, in the future. I've got some great videos that me starting from here, venturing out on my own, This was 3-4 years ago. I took a holiday on my own. I've never done anything on my own. And the reason I did this is, like I say, when you've had a chronic illness and you've had all this crap in your life, it takes your self-esteem and confidence to a level that is very hard to get back from. But with small steps, as I hear, that Rome wasn't built in a day, it's possible, guys. I never thought 6 years ago I would be standing here doing a video on YouTube to the world telling my story. Guys, I look forward to seeing you all in the future. It's going to be amazing. Keep your eyes peeled. Bye-bye.